Have anybody ever been through a storm and they kind of found themselves kind of drifting a little bit? It was drifting a little bit, and you had to grab yourself. You have to grab hold to yourself because you realize that you begin to start drifting along to the side. And wasn't nobody else there to pick you up, and you just had to catch your own self. Every now and again, you got to just grab a hold to your own self and pull your own self up out of the situation and depend on God to come through for you. You can't depend on man to come through. You cannot. Job couldn't even depend on his own wife. His wife said, you ought to curse God and die. The God that you call your God, you serving him, you worshiping him, you ought to just curse him and go ahead and die. The one that was by his side and the one that he went to sleep with, the one that he woke up, it was almost like he was sleeping with the enemy. Don't you know you can sleep with the enemy sometimes if you don't watch it? Amen. Young boys, young girls, watch what you get into, because what you think might be the friend, it could be the enemy. Amen, saints. It could be the enemy. It was a movie called Sleeping with the Enemy. Man, sometimes the enemy is even ourselves. You can go to bed by your own self and you can be your own worst enemy. And you want to put it on everybody else and not taking the time to do a self-evaluation and evaluate my own self. Maybe it might just be me. Have you ever tried to do an inventory of yourself? You couldn't find nobody else to put the blame on, and well, Lord, it might just be me. A lot of times we don't do that. I'm focused on everybody else, everything else, and I'm overlooking my own flaws. And if I would just stop for a minute, take a little time and stop and evaluate my own self, maybe I might just find out that it may just be me. We have to learn to accept what God allowed to happen. But here we have angelic beings. They make an appearance. When we look at the first chapter, we don't have to go there. We're familiar with the story of Job. We have angelic beings that make an appearance before God's throne. Here are the angels. They come before God. Apparently, they are there to give an account for what they had been doing, because everyone has to give an account for what they do and what they do not do. We don't have a clear understanding of what's taking place here, but maybe the angels are giving an account of what they have been doing all day. Because if you're on an assignment from God, pretty sooner or later, the Lord is going to want to see or want to hear what you've been doing all day. He already knows about it. But he just wants to hear you speak a thing sometimes. Come on and say, speak a thing. But so when the angelic beings appear before God's throne, guess who appeared with them? Satan, that old man appears with them. You know how you try to sometimes come to church and the devil come right along with you? Y'all don't never bring the devil in church. I'm in the wrong church. Y'all always got Jesus. You got your halos on. You don't never bring the devil to church with you. You don't never come to church upset. You don't never come to church mad. You don't never come to church sad. Amen. Sad is not of God. He said, I come to give you life and that more abundantly. He comes to give you joy. So if I'm sad, that's not of God. The enemy comes to make you sad. But here comes Satan along with the angels. Here he comes right along. They're coming to give their report, and the devil is coming to give his report. And his report probably longer than their report is. Don't you know that he wants you on his report? He wants to be able to go to God and report and to put it in God's face that one of his children done this, they done that. You've put your trust all in them, God. And here, look what they done. And you're giving them all these things. Not only does Satan appear in heaven, but his presence there is acknowledged by God. God acknowledged that Satan had came with them. God calls him to account for his activities. Keep in mind that the devil is a created being. You got to understand that the devil is a created being. He's a spirit as well, but he is created from the creator. I'm going to say that again. He is a created being. Created from the creator.